What's going on, everyone? You are welcome to another episode of Rewriting Your Story and Improving the Quality of Your Life. In this episode, we'll be talking about the most important gift God gives to mankind, which is time. Time is so important that God, in His wisdom, gave equal value of it to everyone. And how a person uses the time at his disposal determines how much his life is worth. So in this video, we'll be looking at how important time is and how you can manage your time in order to make the most and efficient use of it. But before we do that, kindly make sure you are subscribed or following. And if you are not already, consider doing so now. If you are ready, I am ready. Let's go. Now, in order to explain how important time is, let's examine the need to raise, let's say, 1 million cedis. Now, someone will have to work for 20 to 30 years before they can make that 1 million cedis. Another person may take 10 years to achieve this goal. Someone may need just 5 years and they are already there, and someone can work on this goal for just about 1 year or 2 years to achieve the 1 million cedis we are talking about. So notice that at this point, it is not the amount that is the most important element, but the time it takes in order to arrive at the point. So you can be a millionaire in 30 years, another person can be a millionaire in 50 years, and they are not the same, because when you look at the time involved, the one who did so shortly has made the most and efficient use of his time than the one who took a longer time. So this is what I mean by time is the most valuable asset, and the way a person uses it determines the value of their life. Now, to talk about the most and efficient use of time, Professor Stephen Adei, in his book Living by Strategy, outlines 12 principles that a person can start living by today in order to level up their game of time management in rewriting their story and improving the quality of their life. Now, the first principle of the 12 is your time management must be driven by your purpose. You see, as a human being, you must live a purpose-driven life. And if you are going to make the most and efficient use of your time, then your strategy should be one that is driven by your purpose. And your purpose is a combination of your vision, your mission, your organizing principle, and your principal role. So when you have a clearer picture of all these elements, they come together to form your purpose. And as you use your time with respect to your purpose, you are making the most and efficient use of your time. So the first principle is to make sure that your time management is driven by your purpose. Now, the second principle by Professor Stephen Adei in his book Living by Strategy is to be intentional about your time management. You see, there are so many people out there who live life with their fingers crossed. They just live by chance. They don't have any goals or plans. They just live by the clock, and at the end of the day, nothing has been done and they don't care. But if you are really going to rewrite your story, then you must be intentional about the way you use your time, because that is the only way you can make good use of the 24 hours in a day God has given to us. And if you are not intentional about it, you may lose focus of it, or you may just live by the clock and you get nothing done for yourself and for your society. Now, the principle number 3 is to redeem the time from low value tasks to high value activities. In other words, you need to apply the 80-20 rule in order to redeem the time for your top 20% tasks that will account or contribute 80% of the result that you want. Now, the fourth principle is to focus on a few important tasks. Now, when you wake up in the morning and you take a look at your list of activities that need to be performed, you will notice that there are some activities that are important and urgent. Some are important but not urgent. Some are neither important nor urgent. and some are just urgent but not important. So when you assign weight of importance and urgency around your task, Professor Stephen Adei encourages people to just focus on the few important and urgent tasks that needs to be performed. And when a person does that, the person can make the most and efficient use of their time. Now, the principle number 5 is to synergize through delegation and outsourcing. So for example, if you are a boss, there are certain tasks that you can delegate to your subordinate. Go ahead and delegate it, and when you do that, you will have some free time at your disposal. Or if there is something that you can pay another person to do for you, just pay them to do it for you so that you can have enough discretionary time to use for your most important tasks. So the principle number 5 is to synergize, and the way you can synergize is to either outsource certain activities or to delegate it to someone who can do it for you. Now, the principle number 6 is more or less like the number 3 and then the number 4, which is to make the most out of your time. You see, like I said earlier, it is how much you can do in a given time that determines the success rate. Okay, so you must be intentional about your life and be able to concentrate your effort on your most important tasks, and when you do that, you'll be able to make the most out of your time in the shortest possible time. Principle number 7 is to discipline yourself to form productive habits that will positively impact the use of your time. You see, there are certain habits that are time consuming, and there are certain habits that help people to make the most use of their time. And in this principle, you need to discipline yourself in forming habits that will enable you to make the most use of your time. And some of these habits include waking up early, sleeping early, planning every day, planning in advance, and all the other great stuff that you can do in order to ensure that you are making the most and efficient use of your time. Now, the 8th principle is to use organizing principle in making decisions and taking action. Now, in the last 2 videos, we mentioned that your organizing principle is the theme or the focal point of your life that enables you to take action and to make certain decisions. When you have a clearer organizing principle, it makes time usage very smooth for you because you expose the things that are not worth your time and also the ones that are worth your time. So you need to have a very clear and solid organizing principle that is in line with your purpose. And once you have that, you can make the most use of your time. Now, the 9th principle is to learn to motivate yourself by smelling the cheese. Now, in this book called Who Moved My Cheese, it's more or less like if you are working on a long-term goal, sometimes you may feel like you are wasting time because you have nothing to prove or you have nothing to show for the effort that you have invested. But if you are going to motivate yourself, then you should set certain milestones and reward systems that will help you to stay motivated in order to keep working on your goal, especially when it is a large and long-term goal. The principle number 10 is one of my favorite of all the principles, which is to adjust your time management to seasons of life. You see, Professor Stephen Adei usually has a statement he says there are 2 people that do not change their mind. Number 1 is God and number 4. God because he knows everything in advance, so he never makes a mistake, and a fool because he doesn't know that there is the need for change. So as a human being, no matter how rigid you are, you have to be flexible with your time management because sometimes it is not right or it doesn't make sense to stick to a rigid plan that doesn't work in a particular season. So you must be flexible with your time management in order to be able to adapt to any changes or seasons of life that may come your way. So that is the principle number 10. You have to be able to adjust your time management to seasons of life. Now, the 11th principle is what he calls reckon time. In other words, you should be able to account for how you use your time. So in a day, you must be able to give a proper and detailed account of how you use the time at your disposal. So if you are a worker or an employee, when you went to the work field, how do you use your time, or what do you use your time for? If you are a business owner, how did you use your time? If you are a student, how did you use your time? You should be able to account for every minute of your life, and that is what Professor Stephen Adei calls reckon your time. And the way you can do that is to journal. Okay, you need to keep a journal of everything you do in a day. That will help you to account for every single minute of your time and how you utilize that time. And that is it for the principle number 11. Now, the final principle is to give room to God. You see, with God, all things are possible. Without God, certain things are impossible because human beings are limited. And in most cases, we need God in our decisions, we need God in our actions, we need God in our planning, and we basically need God in almost everything that we do. So in as much as you are taking absolute control over your life, you still need to give room to God for Him to inspire you, for Him to guide you, and for Him to lead you in everything that you do. And when you are able to follow these 12 principles outlined by Professor Stephen Adei in his book Living by Strategy, you begin to see the changes in your attitude towards time. And the moment your attitude towards time changes for the better, your life begins to improve and your story begins to be recreated. I do hope you learned something today. If you did, kindly leave a thumbs up on this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and make sure you are subscribed or following. I will see you again tomorrow with another video. Until then, peace out.